Happy Thursday, everybody. Andy and Steve from WagerTalk.com. Welcome to the Road to Millions on Thursday, October 5th. We've got a great show for everybody today. Very, very excited about it. We're going to, of course, start off with some positive vibes. And then we got two Thursday night football best bets. We've got team total Thursday, fade of the day, sleeper of the day, and the stat of the day. Let's keep looking at some positive vibes. Let's get this day started off in a good mindset here. Look at this comment. Been following you guys for a while. Bought your monthly beginning of September, and you guys promptly killed it. Yes,
sir.
Thank you. I appreciate the picks, but and I'm glad this person mentioned this. More so appreciate the approach you guys are sharing. There is an authenticity to this that is not commonly found. Appreciate that, and that was the whole point of the show. Was we're on this ride with you. Like, we're here to help, but we're with you. Like, we follow all of the bets for our own bankrolls, and we update the bankroll. So really appreciate that comment, and thank you for following us, and good luck. A lot more profits to come. So love the Bengals play. May look to the first quarter under in that one. Bengals hit first quarter last week, so absolutely no problem. Shane, you guys educate me daily. Greatly appreciated. No problem. Greg, 2 season win totals. Panthers under 7.5. Looking great.
Feeling good about that
one. Great show. Just with their free plays, I'm close to up 15 grand. That's awesome. You're the best. That's great to hear, man. Always great to hear. Hopefully you didn't start with. Hopefully you didn't start with 20 grand. Yeah. Well, hopefully he didn't start with 20 grand.
Yeah.
What's the saying in the restaurant business? It's the best way to make $1 million in the restaurant business. Start with 2 million.
Yeah.
So great stuff, everyone. Share your wins with us. Please hit the like button. Really helps us out. So yeah, tell us what's going good for you. So that's what we're here for. So all right, here we go. Let's get into it's not Monday Night Football best bets. Gosh dang it, Steve. I'm gonna change. I'm going to change this on the fly. You go first. DJ Moore, over 21.5 longest reception. I saw somebody put in the comment section they like him over his passing total. So I think we're liking DJ Moore and his receiving props, correct?
Yeah, I love this play. He's went over in 3 or 4 games, 29, 29, and 33. He only fell short in week 1. That's because he was shadowed by Packers' Jair Alexander. He only had 2 targets. Commanders' defense have allowed this reception over in all 4 weeks. So week 1, Rondell Moore, 31. Week 2, Mims Jr. had 60. And Brandon Johnson had 50 in the same game against the Commanders. James Cook, 34 in week 3. Week 4, A.J. Brown, 59 in the same game that Devonta Smith had 37. So that's not only all 4 weeks, but that's 6 guys total, wow. And 5 being wide receivers. The only one that wasn't was Cook. The only week that didn't allow a receiver to go over this total was week 3 with James Cook, the running back, having the 34-yard reception. So they've been susceptible to having a wide receiver go over this longest reception total. And Justin Fields, the one thing that he's thrived on is throwing the long ball. That's what, other than running. The short stuff is not working out for him, and the long pass has worked out. I expect Moore to get plenty of chances to have a long reception in this game. And 21.5 seems really low when he's going 14 on his low against Alexander, and then 29 as his low other than that.
Nice. DJ Moore over 21.5 longest reception. I'm taking an under. Antonio Gibson. I had high hopes for this guy. I thought he was going to have a big year. I thought he was going to be a sneaky fantasy football player. I thought his props were going to be great, and they've been terrible. So going with under, and I want rushing and receiving because he's not been good in both categories, so I want a little bit of a higher number. The last 2 games, he has 24 and 26. That's awful. He has 122 yards from scrimmage total this season. 36 came on 1 play in week 2. He's gone under this in 3 out of 4 games. The most carries he has in any game is 6, and the most catches he has is 3. So you're looking at 9 touches as his max here. I don't know why he has fallen out of grace with them, but he is just not getting any production. He's not getting the touches, and this was a preseason call I was dead wrong on. So thank God we haven't made any official plays on him go over. But it's about time to start fading Antonio Gibson unless Brian Robinson gets hurt or something. So.
Yeah, you're not the only one. I mean, fantasy owners with Gibson too.
Oh,
My God, it's brutal. A lot of people were high on him coming into the season, and he just hasn't panned out whatsoever.
I thought he would be that third down back that would
Yeah,
come in and catch 5, 6 passes. I thought he'd get like 5 or 6 carries, and all of a sudden there at the end of the game he's sitting there with 13, 14, 15 touches, and nope, it just hasn't developed for him. So we'll take Antonio Gibson under and DJ Moore over 21.5 on the longest reception. There's another typo, Steve. This is not going good. Bear with me, guys. It was a long night in production world. Plays that we have up: UFC best bet is still up, NCAA team total is still up, and our Thursday night best bet is up. We hit our last Thursday prime time. We hit Monday prime time. We did not hit on Sunday, but hitting 2 out of 3 on the prime time games is really good. It's important for us in the industry, so we've been really good in prime time. So grab that Thursday night best bet and grab that NCAA team total, and of course UFC locked and loaded. And if you want to use the promo code LANG7, get your 7-day pass for $79. That is all sports, including 5% plays. All right, Steve. It is Team Total Thursday. We
sir.
each do our favorite over and under. I like the Texans over and the Jags under. You like the Rams over and the Saints under. So let's go for our overs here. This Texans, man. This offense, I absolutely hate that the Colts are now going to have to deal with C.J. Stroud for the foreseeable future. But, I mean, watching them, they're fun, they're exciting. They have a pretty deep wide receiving core, which is important because Atlanta has a shutdown corner, so he can take out Nico Collins but that leaves Robert Woods, that leaves Tank Dell. I think this Atlanta team is looking in pretty bad shape. Their offense is so predictable. Teams are just stacking the box and said, all right, Desmond Ridder, go ahead and throw on us. And last week gave the Jags a touchdown. That helped the Jags get over the team total against them. Houston rush defense, not as bad as you would think, 14th. That really surprised me. They give up a lot of touchdowns, but not as many yards as we would think. And the key stat for them is C.J. Stroud got sacked 11 times in the first 2 weeks, but then the last 2 weeks, 0. And Pro Football Focus has Atlanta's pass rush as 26th worst. So, in my opinion, with all the injuries on the offensive line, if they can handle the Steelers and not get sacked there, I think they can handle the Atlanta Falcons. And they started to run the ball a little bit. Dameon Pierce looked a little bit better last week. Atlanta has lost the time of possession 2 weeks in a row. That's not good for a team that prides itself on running the ball. So, you and I talked about this when I was stunned it wasn't 21.5. So I'll take the Texans over. Yeah, getting this below 20 is awesome. 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals will get you over there. And, of course, 3 touchdowns get you over as well. So Texans over 19.5. That is my favorite over. Steve, you're going with the Rams over 23.5. What do you like about them?
Yeah, it's part of what I like about this one as well is I get it under 24, so I can get there with 3 touchdowns and a field goal. I considered over 2.5 touchdowns with a little bit of juice, but saw that the Rams have kicked plenty of field goals this season. They've been in the red zone a lot. They've only went over in 2 of 4 games, but the 23 versus San Fran, so just short against that defense. No shame there. 16 against the Bengals. Okay, it's not really close, but Bengals, pretty good defense themselves. They've gotten there through the passing game, through the air, and been able to score that way. The Eagles have allowed the 5th most passing yards. And I'm expecting the Eagles to push the scoring in this one. They average 29.5 points a game. All their games have been pretty high scoring. So I'm looking at the Rams needing to keep up in this one and being able to score through the air. Give me their over on 23.5 this week.
I'll add to that a little bit. I was doing a deep dive on something, and I stumbled upon a Philadelphia, like a local article. They were talking about that injury to Maddox in week 2 in their secondary, and they said that they're really struggling to figure out what their starting lineup is, and they brought a guy in who's not really in game shape and doesn't really know the defense, but they're trying to work with him. And the article was talking about how that the Philadelphia secondary is going to be a work in progress. I wonder if these passing props and these team totals against Philly is going to be a good play. So I happened to stumble upon that yesterday inadvertently, but thought that was a nice little tidbit. So yeah, love that number right under 24 on the Rams. My favorite under, I'm just going back to the Jags. Man, this team just can't really score. They're like 23 against Atlanta, but that was one defensive touchdown, one offensive touchdown, and 3 field goals. Yuck. It's 17 against Houston, 9 against Atlanta the previous 2 weeks, and the offense just looks stuck in the mud. I don't know why. They have Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, Travis Etienne, Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, and they're just not really getting it done, and they are facing a brutal defense. Buffalo held Miami to 20 points. Surely they can hold Jacksonville under. They held Washington to 3 and Las Vegas to 10. Buffalo has allowed 5 offensive touchdowns total this season. 5 offensive touchdowns. So when that defense is on the field, it is really tough to score on them. So I get an offense that's stumbling a little bit against a really, really good defense that just held Miami to 20 points. So I like Jacksonville under 20 and a half. And I'm assuming this has to. I'm assuming a lot of this has to do with an injury to the quarterback on the Saints, right? But you're going with Saints under 19 and a half.
Yeah, these guys can't score under 3 or 4 games. 16, 20, 17, and 9. They haven't gotten past 20 points yet this year. And Patriots defense now. I mean, obviously you bring up Carr's the injury and the limitations there. That's obviously a big part of this play. And if he doesn't play or he ends up out of the game, it's Winston, who I'm assuming that Belichick will have no problems confusing whatsoever. So the Patriots defense, though, we took some hits last week. Christian Gonzalez out for the year now with the shoulder injury. Judon's going to be out for a while now with the bicep strain. That's brutal. It's really disheartening to see Gonzalez go down and Judon as well. Those are 2 key guys. But if there's anyone that can deal with this, it's Belichick and the Patriots defense. They are always able to seem to patch it together when these things happen. And the Patriots just signed J.C. Jackson. They let go of him in 2021. He goes to the Chargers and signs a big deal, and the Chargers are already willing to trade him for a minimal draft pick essentially. So he hasn't panned out. Yeah,
so
well,
strange.
He hasn't panned out over there, but he thrived over here at points. He took a beating sometimes as well, but he's a guy that knows the system at least, and he's not somebody that's just off the street that's going to jump in there and just not know what's going on. So I think that could help them. The Patriots held the Eagles to 25, held the Dolphins to 24. At home, I'm counting on them doing enough to keep the Saints team under 20 points again this week.
It is so strange that the Saints can't score. What a Carr looked horrible last week. I'm sorry, but Jameis wouldn't have looked better. I get it that your starting quarterback wants to be tough and wants to go out there, but if that's how it's gonna look, what the?
And he took another hit. He took some other hits in that game and got banged up even worse.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine him being any better this week. And like I said, if it's Winston, then yeah, I think I would rather see him if I was the Saints, I'd rather have him than Carr right now based on the limitations we saw last week. But I think that the Patriots will be able to shut down Winston as well if that's the case.
All right, there's team total Thursday. My favorite over is the Texans 19.5. Favorite under the Jags under 20.5. Steve's going with the Rams over 23.5 and the Saints under 19.5. All right, fade of the day. Speaking of injuries, I'm fading Miles Sanders under 41.5 rushing yards. He's clearly hurt. His groin injury from the preseason seems to be getting worse. Look at these rushing numbers every week. Week 1, 72, then 43, then 24, then 19. The Lions, this is an elite rush defense. They allow 45.25 rushing yards per game total to the other team, not just to one running back, but total. I think this is a brutal game for Carolina. Spoiler, Lions are going to be my survivor pick, but I just think this Lions team is going to take away Miles Sanders and then say, all right, Bryce Young, go ahead. You and Adam Thielen. the Bryce Young Adam Thielen combo. We'll take our chances with that one. So It's just he looks hurt. We cashed on him over 2.5 receptions, and that one keeps hitting mostly because they're down. But he just doesn't look right. And again, this might be a player that they might have to sit for a couple games to get him healthy because those rushing numbers decline every week. Says it all right there. 72, 43, 24, 19. So I'm going to fade Miles Sanders until he's healthy. I'll take the under 41.5 rushing yards. All right, sleeper of the day. He finally came through in cash. You're going right back to him. Steve, what do you like about Johan Dotson?
Yeah, so we talked about this one on Sunday, and he finally came through with a TD and anytime touchdown at plus 340. I think 340 we got it at that day. That was his first touchdown of the season. He led the team last year with 7. And what I'm really encouraged by is seeing his targets go up last week. He had 9 targets last week. That was the most he's had so far this year. And while the game did go to overtime, he only had 1 in overtime. So he still had 8 in regulation. We got the Bears allowing the 5 touchdowns to opposing wide receivers. And I'm looking at this game being a spot where the Commanders will need to score some points through the air. And Dotson looks like they dipped his price pretty significantly. So it looks like he's on the books radar. So I'll go with his anytime touchdown as the sleeper today.
Yeah, Washington. That passing game kind of came alive a little bit last week. So here we go. Your sleeper of the day, Dotson.
Against the Eagles, too.
Yeah,
Against the Eagles, too, that we just talked about. So.
Absolutely. I'm going to get to the stat of the day. So you and I were talking last night. Just this is just a little baseball rant. I don't know why it's just so crazy, but so what I was talking to you about was Tampa. At the beginning of the year, they look like the best team that's ever walked the face of the planet. A couple of injuries, and they get creamed in the playoffs, and that's just it. That's their season. What a waste of a season. What happened?
The beginning of the year when they were reeling off those wins, doesn't it almost seem like a different season almost at this point?
Feels like 3 years ago.
We were talking too, and it's amazing that all 4 series end 2-0. So the Braves were the best team in baseball this year. 104-58 is their record. But they lost consecutive games 25 times during the year. But the Blue Jays, Rays, Brewers, and Marlins are all done because for the penalty because they lost 2 games in a row. You know what I mean? I don't know what else they can do with it. It does make it really exciting, but when you look at a team that's played so many games like that, and then they just lose 2 in a row, you never know. The Jays could have reeled off 10 wins in a row right after that, and who knows? You know what I mean? But I guess you got to be hot when the time comes, and that's what actually the Phillies, man, they look like they're looking pretty hot right now going into Atlanta.
Yeah, the baseball playoffs are I don't know. I was just looking at Tampa. I was like, man, and were they even remotely competitive in those 2 games?
No, that's the other thing about a lot of these series.
Blown off the field.
Yeah, the Marlins didn't do anything against the Phillies, and then the Brewers barely did anything against the Diamondbacks either.
Yeah,
I mean,
so strange.
Yeah, we thrive in baseball for the regular season, but it was the right approach, I think, to lay off for the postseason.
Yeah, that right there is why I don't want to bet on MLB in the postseason. That right there, like, who would have predicted every season is just a 2-0 complete sweep? It's just a complete reset of the season, and it's just bonkers. It's so weird. So, I did enjoy. There was some Twitter conversation about how annoying it is the TV broadcast. Like when they show the hitters batting average, they leave out the regular season. So it's like this guy's hitting 700. Like wait, 700? Like he had 2 hits yesterday. What do you mean?
Yeah, he went 3 for 4.
You're just gonna casually leave off the last 6 months of what he did. So I guess it doesn't matter though. Like if the regular season truly does not matter once you get into the playoffs. So
it really does start a new season. I mean, the only advantage you can get is being one of those top 4 teams that avoid playing in this round because this round's lethal. Any team
it really is.
Anybody can lose 2 games in a row. You know what I mean? We just talked about the Braves lost 25 times. They lost 2 games in a row.
It's crazy. I just if you're a team like Tampa, what do you do in the off season? Are you like, well, that season sucked. Like it's like we got
Yeah,
to make
well,
sweeping changes. Like we had some guys get hurt. And we got killed in 2 games. I don't know. It's so strange. Baseball playoffs always have confused me. So, all right, stat of the day. Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts have played in 3 games together for Atlanta. In those 3 games, Kyle Pitts has 9 catches for 77 yards. Jonnu Smith has 15 catches for 179. What is going on with Kyle Pitts? Is this like product of the offense? Is this Desmond Ritter? Is he frustrated or does he just suck?
yeah, I don't know. It almost feels like it's starting to feel a little bit like a bust. You know what I mean? I I know it's early on, and Jonnu Smith, he's a guy I was really hoping could do something when he came to New England a couple of
Yeah.
years ago, but he really didn't pan out whatsoever. Yeah, but he's not the type of guy that should be, should be
No.
dwarfing Pitts. He's not he's definitely not a world beater. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's wild. Like
No,
doubling his production and catches. Wow.
yeah, in the games that they played together, this wasn't like Kyle Pitts was out. This was in the game
Yeah,
that they played in together, and Jonnu Smith is waltzing down the field. It's a bizarre one. Like I feel bad for people that drafted Kyle Pitts in fantasy football, and they're sitting there watching Jonnu Smith be better than him on the same team. It's
yeah, right.
like
Oof.
like I like it's a legit question. Who would you rather take the rest of the season, Kyle Pitts or Jonnu Smith? 3 games. It's not 1 game. That's three
Yeah,
games.
I'd still maybe this is like the Mac Jones question yesterday, but I still would I'd still go with Pitts just because you know how these things go. Like, this isn't going to be how Smith performs for the long haul. At least I don't think so.
Pitt. How many years of Kyle Pitts being bad are we going to say this is the year? He's so good. Is he? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, who would you
It's-
take? Would you go with Smith?
oh man. Rest of the year? Yeah. I think there's something going on there. I like if Kyle Pitts is mad, I certainly wouldn't blame him. If he's fallen out of grace with the coaches because of a bad attitude, I know you're a professional and you're supposed to stay positive and be on the same page, but yeah, how could these guys not get frustrated? How could Kyle Pitts not be frustrated? Like, you can't get a quarterback to throw me the ball. Like, there's all kinds of stats about how, what was it, last year he led the league with most uncatchable targets. So it's like,
Hmm.
okay, they did throw at him, but they either threw it into the ground or they threw it in the stands, and he gets credited with a target, even though it was completely uncatchable. So it's
Yeah, that
got
could
to
be
be
frustrating. I could see the
frustrating.
frustrating there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't see any upside in Kyle Pitts. So yeah, I guess I would say I'm rolling the dice with Jonnu Smith because Kyle Pitts hasn't shown any upside whatsoever, none. Like, so I don't even know if I'm going to get anything decent out of Pitts. Maybe Jonnu Smith, maybe he's a diamond in the rough. I don't know, but what a
Yeah.
weird stat. So. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us for the Road to Millions. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Thursday night football play is up at WagerTalk.com. Let's get this week started off right. And I believe we're going to have another 5% play. I just have a hunch, Steve, that we may have a 5% play in the NFL come out tomorrow.
Looking for number 5.
Absolutely.
5 in a row, baby.
4-0 to start the NFL season in 5% play. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. Good luck on all your plays today. We'll see everyone tomorrow on Road to Millions.
Good luck.